Oh, all right. Let's keep going with Michael Knowles. You guys know who voted for Trump? I don't know. Some colors did. Maybe orange definitely did. Maybe pink did. I don't know. Well, they weren't real people with any sort of belief system except orange. Okay, so just like Republicans. So the Orwellian warning of toppling statues and erasing history. Erasing history. All right, let's talk to Michael Knowles.
Seems to me all of these issues derive from the same central pathology of modernity.
Okay.
Selfishness.
Isn't selfishness a good thing in capitalism? Am I crazy? Am I suddenly missing the part where they don't like selfishness?
I think it's simple. I think it's actually a simple answer. You don't need some highfalutin political jargon here. I think it comes down to selfishness. Okay? And you know that we're a bit of a selfish culture now.
What do you mean now? What do you mean now?
We spend an entire month celebrating pride. Pride, the definition of selfishness.
Pride is the definition of selfishness? What? Did you know that you're selfish if you're gay and you go to Pride?
That's right, and self-obsession. I think
selfishness got Ayn Rand wet. Most statues aren't being destroyed, right? Just moved into museums or private spaces. And most are not being destroyed.
There's a real connection here. A culture that does not value its inheritance, whether it's a financial,
Its inheritance. Do I hear the rumblings of a lady in here? What just happened? What just happened? I'm selfish if I'm not gay and I go to Pride, though. True. You're not.
Money inheritance, or whether it's a cultural inheritance, is going to squander that, and it's not going to pass anything along to its posterity except for debt. Right? This is a weird thing that we live in a culture now that does not leave an inheritance to the future generations. It leaves debt.
He's so close to understanding the mindset of people that exist today and going like, hey, this is why your system sucks. Like, he's so close to understanding, like, wow, all we get is the negative. Huh.
Likewise, a generation that's not interested in the future, not interested in posterity, not interested in having kids or leaving them anything, has no reason at all to pass on their cultural inheritance or their financial inheritance or anything.
Bitch, you're the one that's against making an effective change on climate change. People on the left are like, hey, it'd be nice to have a livable Earth in the future for our children and our children's children. He's like, you don't want children. And then there's people like, what? We just said the thing is, I would like, what? Some of us don't want kids. And he's like, no, none of you do. And like, I mean, maybe more of us would want kids if we could be financially stable, have health care, not worry about police killing our kids, make sure they get good educations, make sure they're not living in a capitalist hellhole where they're basically a serf and a wage slave. Like, I don't think it's ethical to bring a life into that situation. And especially with the fucking world collapsing insofar as habitability is concerned. Maybe we should consider preserving that and making it better, and then I'll consider having kids. And Michael Knowles is over here like, why don't you just want to have kids, dude? We need to protect our white babies. Okay, bud.
Who cares about the history of America? Who cares about Thomas Jefferson? Who cares about any of our traditions?
I'm a history major, for the record. Me. I care about all that stuff.
We don't even care about the future. We don't care about who comes after us.
We literally do. It's the entire argument on the left is, hey, it's unethical to bring people into this world and to propagate into a system that will leave them likely suffering for their entire existence.
The fact that we're forgetting about our past ties into the fact that we're forgetting about our future, and vice versa. And what you have, I'm remembered of this line from George Orwell in 1984. The line goes, Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right.
Why do these guys... It's so wild. It's so wild. Orwell is yelling about literally what you do. Literally what you do. All you have is blind obedience to the right-wing party, the Republican Party. Things are said, facts are said to you, and you go, no, fake news. And we're like, no, that's a fact. You say, no, fake news. COVID isn't a big deal. It's a big deal, says everyone, the science community, medical professionals, the CDC. No, it's not a big deal. Russia colluded in the fucking or meddled in our election. Nope, I'm not going to listen to any of the intelligence communities around the world. Fake news. What are you talking about? You literally you're a talking head atop a political mountain on the right that routinely deletes our actual history and ignores our actual history. Black Wall Street ring a bell? Like any of the fucking atrocities that happened to Native Americans? There's hundreds dating back to literally the day white people landed on this continent of massacres, named massacres of Indian. It's called an Indian massacre list. It's Native American, but it's it is literally titled Indian massacres because of the time it came out of, when they still thought it was the West Indies. 1500s is the first named fucking massacre. Like, you delete these things. You delete them. You fly Confederate flags. You fly Confederate flags. An enemy state. Literally like flying a German flag in fucking 1950. Or a Korean flag in 1955. Or a fucking Russian flag in the 80s. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And not even the real Confederate flag. Like, you hold up monuments to literal terrorists. Literal terrorists. Because they have some sort of ideology you like? What's the ideology you like? They seceded and created the Civil War and the circumstances that surround it for slavery. Quite literally, out loud in their secession letters, for slavery. South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. You can read them yourself. I'll read them to you if you ever fucking want to. Literally. A foundation of misinformation and single party like fucking groupthink. And you think George Orwell is on your side. It's incredible. Fun fact, Pokemon Go has lasted longer than the Confederacy did. Now, some grand heritage with 1,500 years of history. And true. True. Angelic Lily, thanks for following. Did I miss Slow Dog's biddies, or did I read those? Did I miss your biddies? No, that was your Ayn Rand.
That's George Orwell describing this sort of dystopian hellscape in 1984. And that description, I think, suits progressives pretty well. Progressives hate the past. It's right there in their name. They want to progress beyond the past. The progressives always want to topple those statues down.
No, it's not about hating the past. It's about contextualizing the past and making sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the people that were there in the past. Progressivism is about compounding knowledge and moving forward in time, the only direction we get to go, and making sure that we have a better life based on past experiences. So what do we know about past experiences? Racism is bad. Okay, let's progress past that. One of the things to progress past racism is to get rid of monuments of racists, to stop memorializing people that perpetuated horrible chattel slavery. Like, just because Thomas Jefferson had a major role in the foundation of this country doesn't mean that the country that he formed initially was a good one. It wasn't a good one. By the way, he did the Articles of the Confederation first, and it was dog shit. And the Articles of the Confederation were when states just did whatever the fuck they wanted. States' rights was the big thing. And guess what? It didn't fucking work. They had different fucking currency. They had different government structures. They had all sorts of different shit. And it just collapsed on itself. They weren't geniuses. They had 10 years of fucking research and development on a country. And the only reason it worked is because they were backed by fundamentally billionaires from British colony, like British colonists and shit like that. In special interest money groups that wanted slavery, and wanted cash crops, and wanted tobacco, and wanted sugar, and shit like that. Rum, spices. Like, do you even know the history of this country? You say Thomas Jefferson's a genius. He fucked the country up for 10 straight years. And then after that, he fucking raped Sally Heming. Like, what are you talking about, dude? It's all bad. It's all bad. They were not great people. They were people in the time that this occurred. There's a couple great ones in there. There's some truly, genuinely amazing thinkers from the colonial times moving forward, from the 1400s, throughout our history. Of course, there's gems throughout our history. But guess what? Slavery? People who own slaves? Not one of them. I can read about George Washington in a history book. I don't need to walk by his racist ass on my way to fucking George Washington High School. Change it to George Washington Carver High School, for fuck's sake. There's lots of people who didn't just have abject hate for groups of people in American history that we could lean on if you need to fucking have statues and shit. There's plenty of that out there. Plenty of it. It's not erasing history. It's literally understanding the history enough to not fucking make monuments to bad people. It's being aware of history. It isn't deleting history. In the same way that it's like when trans people, they're like, you're trying to change the definition of sex. You don't know what sex is. Trans people are like, no, the sex is incongruent with my gender. It's the same thing. It's the same lie that right-wingers have. Trans people don't deny sex. They fucking look at sex and go, no, I don't like it. I don't like that. And here, progressives are looking at racist fucking statues and going, no, I don't fucking like that. Because I know what it is. Not because I want to erase it. I never want you to forget what these people are like. I never want you to forget what the country was founded on. I never want you to forget Black Wall Street. I never want you to forget the real reason for the Revolutionary War or the Civil War. I never want you to forget the real reason for the Vietnam War, which was racism and anti-communist sentiment. Korean, same shit. They thought they were all just fucking, oh, look, we fought the Japanese, now we fight the Koreans and the Vietnamese. They look all the same. Same shit. And that's the thing. I don't need a monument to understand history, dude. I fucking went to school for it. I actually have a degree. I guess I'm using it, but not in the way it was meant to.
And maybe even the sadder part is, it basically suits conservatives well as well. Because conservatives, at least in recent years, have only been focused on the present. They haven't been focused on conserving very much of anything. You saw this at the Supreme Court just this week. But you've seen this in recent decades. We've lost on so many issues. We've given up so many things. And then there's this irony, which is that conservatives always talk about fiscal responsibility, yet when we get into the government, we spend just as much money, if not more, as the left. Because we're trying to paper over cultural problems by just spending our way out of it, by just having this facade of prosperity. We don't care if the left topples all the statues and ruins our whole culture, as long as we get a few tax cuts every once in a while.
What culture? Your culture is not. Is that Ted Cruz? Is this fucking Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio? I can't tell. Creepy. Someone asked if Teddy Roosevelt is bad. Yeah, he's boy. He definitely racist, pretty overtly racist. Yeah. He definitely was a warmonger. Yeah, it's not a good guy. Not a good guy. Killed hella Cubans. Teddy had the first great replacement speech. Yep. Philippines, Panama. Yep. Yep. Bad guy. Bad guy.
Yeah, not permanent ones, but, just every so often give us a tax cut. And then that's fine. Well, that doesn't conserve much of anything at all. And I think it just comes down to this myopic focus on the present. Not the past, not the future. Not the people who came before us, not the people who come after us, just us, ourselves.
You're not thinking about the future when you deregulate shit. How can he ever say that the conservatives think about the future and are trying to protect it for the future? What are they talking about? On the shocking similarities between joining a cult and today's woke social justice movement. Ah, good. What up, Lucid Fox? What up, buddy? Are we doing a thing tomorrow together with the serfs? Are you there? Need a proper history education? My high school history teacher literally said Alex Jones was never wrong. Well, yeah. Alex Jones. You have no idea? Oh, well, maybe you're not. I don't know. Talk to Lance. Maybe Lance never tells you things. What a bad guy. Lance is terrible. Cancel Lance. Glenn Beck is still doing stuff? Yeah, he does the Blaze, dude. I got an itch on my back. I'm gonna go into the cornhole and itch it. Itchy! Cornhole! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, by the way, is when we're doing the thing with Lance. Chat. Cancel Lancel. The Conrad emote might be one of my favorite emotes of yours, by the way. No, it is my favorite. It's cute. It's adorbs. It's adorable. Glenn Beck, more like Glenn Beta. Wow. I'm sure I've taught you better than that. That's okay. Itchy Cornhole, new album by Sex Abacus. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of presidents that were hardcore anti Native Americans. Still are. So, anyway, Glenn Beck says that being woke and in social justice movements is like joining a cult. I'm pretty sure he is a Mormon. Isn't Glenn Beck a Mormon? Am I nuts? Glenn Beck religious. What's his religion? Glenn Beck. Political party Republican, yes. Political views, blah, blah, blah. Personal life? In 1994, Beck was suicidal, and he imagined shooting himself to the music of Kurt Cobain. That would have been a shame. Where's your Mormon stuff? Early Christology? Pretty sure he's a fucking Mormon. Mormon friend. Yeah. Yeah. Morm. A dirty, dirty Morm. He reads the Book of Morm. So, anyway, Glenn Beck is an expert on cults, so he should know since he is a member.
The Cult Dynamics of Wokeness by James...
What is this fucking outfit? I think he's red because he's choking himself. All of his blood is forced into the swollen fucking toe that is his face.
James Lindsay, who has just started a new website, newdiscourses.com, where...
James Lindsay is trash. James Lindsay is trash. Do you guys know anything about James Lindsay? God, no wonder he's on this full fucking right-wing grift, and he called fucking Glenn Beck. James Lindsay is another one of those people who is like, I'm super fucking anti-feminine. He's just a fucking, is he racist? Oh yeah, he's pretty racist. Marcus Strike, thanks for the Twitch Prime. Yeah, I should shit all over James Lindsay someday. He's a dog shit person. Anti-revolution. Fucking. Lucy Fox, are you familiar with James Lindsay? I follow him on Twitter because he's dog shit. I said the other day to him, he's wrong all the time. And I said the other day to him in a tweet, like, you're so wrong so consistently, it's like you were cursed by an old racist witch to put the content out you put out. He's so fucking dumb. And he thinks he's smart, which is even worse, and you know how that is.
People can actually speak freely. Tonight at 9 o'clock, I'm going over the most dangerous cult in America. And it's the same cult we're talking about now. And our guest tonight is going to be Adam Carolla. Based on just what he has said recently, I'm not going to bow down to anybody. I am not playing this game. And, you know, when you look at what's happening, this is becoming a religion. You are a sinner unless they say you're saved. And if you don't bow down to their God, you've got to be destroyed. You're part of the
He looks like the cook from a badly colorized cowboy
evil
movie.
that is going on. And it's becoming
You want some beans, cowpoke?
very, very dangerous. Now, we've been talking
Who's
about
the god of woke? I have no idea.
the steps on getting you into this cult with cult initiation, and then there's cult indoctrination.
Okay, basically just don't be racist, and that's step one. Step one of being what people call woke, don't be racist or homophobic or whatever. Like, just don't be those things. Done. I don't know why he's so red. I think it's the neckerchief. He looks plump. Like, I'm a plump fella, but like look at my hands. You know, there's like, you can see things in them. Like, I got pieces. Got pieces and stuff. He's got just like swollenness. He's just a plump guy.
And then cult reprogramming. And this is really dangerous, because this goes beyond just saying, you know, you got to say the right thing and don't say, you know, don't engage in wrong think. But this actually goes now right deep into Marx. Am I correct on that, James?
You are, actually. That is where, if you really trace this back, it's...
All right. Hey, check it out. Big time history guy right here, okay? You know what I've read of Marx? The bits of the Communist Manifesto for like one project I had to do. I'm not a big fan of the whole like, we need socialism then violent revolution. I'm not a Marxist, okay? I take good ideas and I think they're good ideas and I say, okay, let's do that one. You know what's a good idea? Education. You know what's a good idea? Healthcare. You know what's a good idea? Making sure that people got food and shelter and access to the internet. And Marx didn't write about the internet. Marx didn't write about fucking heroin hotels, did he? I'm sure he did. Marx didn't write about fucking ending the drug war in the United States, did he? Marx didn't talk about demilitarizing racist police, did he? Probably he did, in a way. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, What's this fucking Marx bullshit? You don't have to read Marx to understand that it's racist to not like people based on their skin color.
It's evolved. It's much different. You mentioned that I've got the book Cynical Theories coming out in August, and that book traces one element of how this has evolved, the postmodern element.
Oh, God, he's Jordan Petersoning.
Which is also rooted in Marx. And so it does. That's what this is. And so what people don't understand and why this is so dangerous about this woke cult is that it's not just some wacky kids on college campuses or their professors or people in the media saying weird things. They actually have been taught to think in a different way.
Taught to think in a different way. With empathy?
A completely different way. And the way that works is...
By the way, apparently I was taught to think a different way by my middle of the cornfield, highly racist, almost universally Republican public school teachers. I don't know, buddy. I don't fucking know about that one, bud.
By getting people to do little steps, you just mentioned the bowing down or taking the knee or whatever it is. They get you to do little steps.
Bitch, I don't bow down or take a knee to fucking anybody. I'm pretty fucking irreverent, wouldn't you say? I don't think you don't get your dick sucked if you're trans or black or anything around here. You get your dingle dongle suckled on if you're a good person. If you're a good person, dingle dongle suck-ons for everybody. Even if you don't have a dingle dongle, we'll figure it out. Stick a piece in my mouth. I'll suckle it. You just gotta be a good person. That's it. It's the whole thing. Be a good person. Don't hate people for no reason. Boom. Halfway there. Now we'll work on your politics. We'll work on the way you say and communicate things. I'll suckle you. I'll give you the good stuff. All you gotta do is not be hateful. That's like literally the gate. They're like, you gotta bow down. Nope, you pretty much just gotta be a fucking nice person. You just bow down to trans people. No, Blair White's on the other side of that gate, and if she comes close, I'm gonna fucking Spartan kick her into an endless well. Are you kidding me? Gay people, you bow down to gay people. If Ariel Scarcella comes close, we're gonna take out our Molotov cocktails and we're gonna throw it at her. In Minecraft. Don't actually burn Ariel Scarcella. But they can be filled with milkshake. That's fine. You can milkshake her in Minecraft. Anyway, if Sargon comes up, he thinks he's like 2% black or something. He's going in the trash can. That's what I'm saying. All you gotta do is be a little bit nice. You just gotta be a little bit nice person. Don't hate people for no reason. Pretty much that's the goal. After that, we can move forward. Yeah, he said that once, so he had the N-word pass. He literally said that once, like years ago.
Increase your commitment, right? So you say there was a thing that they just showed from the autonomous zone in Seattle where they gave a speech. It went viral, and the deal was, you need to go find a black person and give them $10, or you're not really committed. That was the statement that the guy made. It's kind of like tithing. But
okay, so I totally disagree with that guy, right? I think that's actually classist to say, hey, if you are an ally of black people and you don't give them $10 right now, you're not actually committed. I actually find that classist, and that's something we can discuss on the left. That's interesting. I think that's absolutely fine. We have this fetishization thinking that privilege equals money. Not all the time, dude. There's a lot of people that can't afford to give $10 to a black guy even if they fucking wanted to. Classism. And I think that our inherent classism and class warfare is a huge problem that we need to talk about. Absolutely. That said, the discussion of reparations and shit, not a bad one. I grew up in a cult. I sometimes see somewhat culty stuff on the left, but I see it far and away the most with Trump for politics. Most of the culty things I see are like woke scolds. Or like, the purity testy left people that, we don't really associate with and are losing and aren't part of the conversation, aren't part of the mainstream sort of thing we do, right? Like, none of them are part of the the fucking Christy Winters and the Steve Shives, like those people aren't part of this. They have their own little pocket and they go hang out over there, and then there's a bunch of gender critical people that hang out in there. Very strange. And less with Steve Shives and more with Christy Winters, though. He's a pretty good ally as far as that's concerned. But yeah, like as far as the rest of that shit, like these people aren't, like, whoever James thinks he's talking to isn't the people that are like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot on the internet.
The thing is it costs you money. It's something, the guy even says, you won't want to do this, and if you don't, it's because you're not committed. It's a step to make you do something symbolic and costly, to make you identify yourself as a person who believes in this cause.
Okay, but no real ally, like that is like some like white savior bullshit that I think is racist. Like that guy isn't an example of a good leftist that is well read on the Marxes or whatever James Lindsay thinks the person is. Like, that person isn't part of these conversations. That person saw George Floyd die, got woke up like 2 minutes ago, and is like, we should give black people $10. Like, that is not like the fucking what this is about. What this really is really about is stop centering yourself, which is what that was doing, by the way. Centering white people, give $10 to black people. That's centering yourself in the conversation. It's about white people doing a thing for black people. It's not about black people benefiting from the thing. It's about you doing the thing, right? That's not the way to do this. Okay, this isn't what it's about. Like the way this is discussed is, if you want to be an ally, first you got to be listening. You gotta be listening. I make sure to check in with people that I value and respect as intellectual people that are black, and I go, hey, like, how do you feel about this or that? Like, you know, like, I don't ask them, am I a good ally? I ask them, like, things that could make me a good ally, not with the intention of, like, being viewed as such, with the intention of being it. Right? Like, I don't get points for being a black ally. Like, it's not a thing. Like, you guys expect that. That's the minimum. We don't get bonuses. I don't get anything for being a black ally. Right? Like, it's just how we are. We just want to be allies of people. And right now, the black community needs people that look like me to stand in between them and police, to use our platforms to reach broader audiences that maybe aren't talking about this, to talk to white people about the experiences that black people have that we don't ever have to deal with, like where to keep your cell phone on your body during the day, where you can or can't jog outside, like different weird shit that just you never think of. You get a sense of pride. I mean, I don't get a sense of pride and accomplishment from it, because I think it's my standard. Hey, you guys want to see something gross? I'm going to touch my eyeball. I have a thing in it. I can touch my eyeballs, though. Did that gross you out? Did that gross you out? I, like, wiped my eye and, like, a piece of something got up in my eyelid. I've had contacts for years, so touching my eye doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of you guys, so it's funny. How many of you are fucking grossed? Some of you are moist. If you ever wore contacts, then yeah, you know it's like not a big deal. Anyway, it's still in my eyeball, but it's whatever. Anyway, let's continue.
And so they start to reprogram you. They've already indoctrinated you with the ideas by making you read the literature and do the work. And again,
okay, I have never read Marx. We don't read Marx, guys. How many of you have fucking sat down and read fucking Marx? Like, all of it. How many of you guys read fucking constant? Like, what percentage of you? Reading for nerds is why I'm illiterate. Is Marx on Twitter? No. Read the manifest. That's what I'm talking about. Like, but did you read, like, the other papers? Did you read, like, use a reference quote runs? That's what I'm saying. You don't read Principia Mathematica to learn about classical physics. Exactly. Das Kapital is a banger. Yeah, it's not a big... We don't do this. Some people have, but this isn't... There's no required literature. What is required of you to be on the left is to identify as such. Like, the rest of us embracing you is just if we agree with you. That's it. It's the whole thing.
Again, this is a process. It doesn't just happen. It's like the stages kind of blend together and mix together. And then they get you to do costly things like humiliate yourself or make public declarations crying in front of a camera about how sorry you are and then still keep firing you afterwards.
Dude, these are not real people.
Make you give up your job. They make you give money to causes or to people. All these things are meant to build commitment, to see yourself more and more and more as the kind of person who participates in this cult. And like I said, the goal...
No, that's where the embracing comes in. Then he wouldn't be part of the left. You can say you're part of the left.
Think in a particular way that nobody really recognizes. That's where the Marxism, that's where the neo-Marxism, and that's where the postmodernism come into this. That's how they want you to think.
This is conflict theory. This is Marx's conflict theory, which I don't think
right.
Very many of us even know what that means. So explain conflict theory.
Marx is, I mean, a lot of the people associate, they hear Marx and they just think communism, and that's the end of it. Marx's most dangerous and most important idea was conflict theory. What he believed is, and what he pushed is, and what that spirit of Marxism that's pushing through to wokeness today is the belief that society has different social groups that have different social standing, poor, rich, capitalist, versus proletariat, whatever it is, different ones, and they are automatically in conflict. They're at war with one another for status and opportunity. Now the matter is race and other factors of identity like sexuality and gender and so on, but it was economics with Marx. So this is that same idea that these different categories have different levels of status in society, and they're automatically at war with one another. So one of the ways this cult makes you think is I belong to an identity group. In fact, I identify with an identity group, and that identity group is at war with the other identity groups. Yeah.
No. No. What do I have to say besides no? I am an identity group, and therefore I am at war with other identity groups. Intersectional, like we're intersectional. That just defeats it. It defeats it. Oh, we're intersectional. We understand that everyone has a different identity and different context to their life and different lived experience, and we use that all together in conjunction to try to create a society that's best for everybody, where everybody has, hopefully, as much input as possible, and to where a lot of those things overlap. Like, black rights are also Asian rights to some extent, not the full extent, but to some extent, right? In the same way that they're Native American rights. Like once you start down the path of certain things, other things get enveloped in the goodness of the movement, right? Like saying that, hey, you have reproductive autonomy over your own body. Okay, you have reproductive rights. That extends to trans people. It wasn't a trans issue necessarily, but it gets folded in. Like it was most of the time people talk about abortion from a very binary cis reproductive standpoint, but giving you autonomy over your reproductive organs greatly affects you and is really good for you. So it's just stuff like that. It's just intersectionalism. Do you think that that's a reflection of his concept? I'm Republican, so I'm at war with anyone not Republican? I don't know. It has to be zero-sum game? Yeah, I don't know. What's funny is that this is how the white nationalists actually think white people versus POC. They think the leftists the same, but on the other side, they're made of war. This is what I'm talking about. Like I want to involve as many people in life and happiness and the pursuit of happiness as I can. Terrific Terry, thanks for following. And that includes Republicans. But I want them to stop being Republicans along the way as they find out that a better, more libertist life is one over here where we don't gate people's liberty based on how many dollars are in their pocket or bank account. Like, that's really what it is.
That's dark.
So James, you go into how to get people
Glad you're here,
out
Terry.
of this cult, and you don't. Not a lot of hope there.
It's hard.
On that.
It's really hard to get somebody out of a cult. Luckily, like I said, most people aren't in the cult at the moment. A lot of people are really having their first sincere encounter with it. And I keep...
This guy thinks that leftists are... Like, you know how he's saying, like, look, oh, give $10 to a black person, and then there's a bunch of white guys prostrating themselves in front of black people and crying and saying they're sorry and white guilt. James Lindsay thinks that leftists are the bad guys in Get Out. The I would have voted for Barack Obama twice if I could, 3 times if I could guy. Like, that's who he thinks he's talking to. He's talking, you're talking to liberals, James Lindsay, at best. Dumb liberals. These are Karens. These are Karen people. They're just Karens that aren't racist. That's the whole thing. Like, how? How the fuck?
Hearing now letters I get from people where people are kind of taking it on. They're reading it, and then they're saying, what is this? You know, they read Robin DiAngelo's book, White Fragility. It's very difficult. I'm not going to call Robin DiAngelo any names, but it's very difficult to read that book. I've read it a few times now and come away with all you can think is, wow, this woman is struggling with her own issues about race and has written it down and basically said everybody's racist.
Oh, I so hate dumbing down the conversation to all white people are racist. It's much better to say, and much more accurate to say, all white people, or even the majority of white people, it's probably all, but like you can even hedge a little bit more and say the majority of white people benefit from racism. That's it. That's it. The majority of white people, even those that do not engage with racism, benefit from it. Yes, that's true in the United States and probably other countries as well. Lots of them. Canada, UK, etc. Yes, that is true. I absolutely benefit from the fact that I'm not looked at with as much suspicion as a black person by police officers. Yes, I do benefit from that. I benefit from being on the winning side. I don't even know what to call it. The side that benefited more, economically speaking, in the United States, because I don't come from a line of people that lived in fucking abject slavery. I don't come from people that descend. Like, maybe there's black people in my lineage, but obviously not a lot, and certainly none in any of the last 3 or 4 generations that directly line up to me. Like I don't come from a place where my family are victims of systemic racism. So I have some familial wealth in my background. Now, I don't personally receive any of that, but I lived a middle-class life due to familial wealth. For a while, I ended up being very, very poor, but in my adult life. But Kaluquan, thanks for following. Tried to do better. But just wild to me. Just wild to me. Like, just understand that we benefit from things. And James Lindsay just can't. He cannot understand. He's like, I'm not a racist. I mean, he's kind of racist, but I'm not a racist. How can I benefit from the slavery? I don't have any slave bucks in my pocket. And it's like, dude, how can you not widen your lens long enough to understand that you don't have hundreds of years of oppression at your back, so that you've had literally a head start? How do you not understand? I do not want to watch Birth of a Nation.
Because she can't deal with her own problem. That's the feeling you get. And so a lot of
For the record, I have no white guilt whatsoever. And I don't think you should either. You shouldn't feel guilty. Right? You've done nothing wrong to feel guilt. What you should feel is empathy. Empathy for your fellow human being. Just empathy. If you can feel just empathy for someone that has lived a life that, like, we've all been bullied or called names or whatever, just even that, you've not probably been experiencing systemic racism to the extent even close to the average black American, especially a black man, experiences in this country. But if you can understand how it feels to feel othered, to feel pushed aside, to feel marginalized, and then take into account that happens fucking daily to most of these people. Like for those of you who don't show up on Sundays for Sunday service, you should show up on Sunday service days and come hang out in the morning with me and Arian, and we will talk about who, if you don't know, is a black guy that has fantastic perspectives on things. And I learn a lot from him. He learns a lot from me, too. We teach each other about just, like, cultural differences. And you could learn a lot as a white person listening to a guy who is well-spoken and articulate enough to, and such a good thinker enough to communicate effectively the black experience in a way that I don't think a lot of people can express it. Like, I don't know, he's also a rapper, so he's just very naturally good with words, and he has said things that have literally, like, made little firecrackers go off in my head, like, oh shit, yes, of course, I agree. He's just such a good communicator on this kind of stuff, so please come around on Sundays. Even if you go watch his stream instead of my stream, which is absolutely fine, go support. I mean, he doesn't need your financial support. He's a millionaire. I need your financial support. Sub to me, watch on his side, totally fine. And just, like, I don't know, it's just so enjoyable, and I feel so fortunate to have someone in my life that is so knowledgeable about this kind of shit. Society, as a black man, I'm concerned with what if I get killed by cops or imprisoned by judges. Exactly. What do you teach Arian Foster? Oh, I teach him a lot of stuff about stuff all the time. I mean, like I literally taught him how to do, like, the streaming. Like, I don't know, we're friends. We've been friends for a while, like, years. Love Sunday service, been missing it. Yeah, we haven't been able to do the last 2 weeks. There was actually a storm today. We were going to do it today instead of yesterday. But there was a storm in Texas today, and he was losing internet all day today. Mostly about the existence of lots of stuff. I mean, we text and stuff and teach each other a lot of stuff. I don't know. We're friends. I wish he was closer. I would like to spend more time, like, actually just one-on-one, just, like, you know, and without the artifice of the internet and you guys and stuff. Like, I mean, we talk privately, but not, you know, he lives in Texas and I live in Michigan. It'd be nice to be around. Probably 11 Eastern time on Sundays. It's too early in the morning. 11 Eastern? Starts at 11 Eastern. We used to go for 3 or 4 hours. Anyway. Yeah, even if you don't catch it live, just watch it. It's just also, it's fun. It's not just all serious all the time, obviously. No, you're good, Sporkadell. I don't want to go to church. Waste of time. I also don't endorse child fuckers. I agree. It's called Sunday service. We're both atheists. But it's called Sunday service. It's kind of a tongue in cheek. I got arrested and had Bill Cosby's defense attorney because a local judge recommended him. Really, money matters? Wait, you seriously had Bill Cosby's defense attorney? What the fuck? That's fucking wild. Huh. What'd you get arrested for? Did you do it? By the way, I don't think we should imprison people for most things, for the record. Assault? Okay, I'm going to focus on Marcus for a little bit, because this is interesting to me. A dude attacked my brother. Oh, so you beat him up and you went... Did you go... You didn't get in trouble for that shit, did you? This is an interesting story. You did go... Did you go to prison? Or did you just go, like... Did... You came for the corn? Well, boy, do we have it. Your pedo dad should be... I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm... See, the thing is, I think he should be in jail, but I think it should be in a Reformation-style thing and not a... As emotional as I want to get about something like pedophilia or people, you know, sexual assault and stuff like that, there's a reason people do stuff. And whether or not you can reform somebody from that kind of stuff is one thing, but you can at least learn and try to come from a position of... It makes a lot more sense in the long run to talk to this person and try to understand that, without excusing it, of course, so that you can prevent it in the future from other people. No, just probation. That's because we had a great lawyer, is my point. Yeah. He's like really slow for a millennial. No, you're doing fine. I just don't like... I don't know. Yeah. Point is, cops could have killed you when they arrested you and nothing would have happened to them. Yep. And that sucks. Like it's just so fucking like... Like, cops started because they're slave catchers. Like, how do we not understand this shit? I don't know. Prison is pointless in general. Pretty much. Shit would happen because I knew all the local judges. Ah. Interesting. Ah, you're a law student, so you got special protection? I see. Yeah, it's based on, like, class and, like cash bail is so fucked up. I wonder if, I know he has his number, but I wonder if, Aaron would be interested in having some of his people on here. God, what the fuck? Cash bail. Who is that fucking guy? Not the Mario Davis. No. Malcolm Jenkins. Fuck. Couldn't remember Malcolm Jenkins' name. I wonder if he'd be interested in having Malcolm on and talk about cash bail and shit like that. That'd be interesting. Malcolm's kind of a busy dude, though. I don't know. Great beard. I've heard prison is different in some countries. They actually make a point of reforming rather than punishing. I mean, probably not a lot of countries, but yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
People are identifying that, and they're kind of... I see a lot of people taking it up, but a lot of people rejecting it too, which means there is hope. There is the ability, in fact, what usually gets people out of a cult when you can do it, especially when it's in a very early stage, is getting them to see the unfairness, getting them to see how inhumane it is, or getting them to see the contradictions. A good example is white fragility. When you read it the way that Robin DiAngelo puts it, it sounds all kind of nice, but something is off. I hear that over and over again. Something's off, but okay. But if you highlight what's off, white fragility is a doctrine that says if you're accused of racism or white fragility itself, and you say, no, that's not true, or you just say, I'm not going to do this, that's supposed to be you exhibiting white fragility, which means racism. So when you boil that down, it means that white fragility says there are two kinds of people who have racial privilege in the world. One of those is a racist who's willing to admit it, and the other is a racist who's too fragile to admit it. So it basically says...
white fragility. This guy is an idiot, is who he is. It's James Lindsay. I think he fundamentally misunderstands the conversation. We just had that conversation.
Everybody's a racist. And when people see that, they say, this is crap. when they see that no matter what you do once you're accused of racism, it just proves your racism. People aren't stupid. We're not stupid. We know what a kangaroo court looks like. We know what something bogus is. And so that kind of thing can snap people out of it.
This is more than a kangaroo court. This is more like, I think, the Salem witch trials. You know, if you're accused of being a witch and you say you're not a witch, that's exactly what a witch would say. What did you just say?
That is how history will write this chapter of our time, is that this was a new, you know, whether it's Salem or whether it's the European ones, which were much more deadly, this is a new period of witch trials in which the witches are racists.
Burn the racists? What?
The time before was that you were in collusion with Satan, or you were in collusion with the devil, or you had demonic influence, all this invisible stuff, and then if you denied it, well, that's what somebody who had demonic influence would say. So clearly you must be a witch. And now you're a racist, and if you deny it, you must therefore be a racist. And so they even say it in their literature, though, right? It's not even fair. They say there's no such thing as not racist. No such thing as it. It's impossible. So you can either be racist or you can be anti-racist, but still also necessarily racist. Anti-racists are also racist.
This is him making an opinion based on one book he's read, thinking that it's like widespread doctrine in the left. I've never heard of who he's talking about, and I don't know anybody that agrees with the straw man he's putting up. What are you talking about? We talked about it earlier. Like, you benefit from racism, but you don't have to be racist. There are aspects of things. Oh, God. That's not the message of the book, by the way. I've never read it, but I mean, this guy is he's just so stupid. James Lindsay is, again, he's just an even worse Jordan Peterson. He's Jordan Peterson without all the money or adoration. Nobody fucking likes him.
Because there's no not racist.
Except for them.
No, that's the thing. That's why this is so dangerous. They believe that everybody's racist and there are only two types of people. They are also racist. They're the people who will go and cry and confess to it and dig themselves deeper into the cult. And those are the relatively good people. And then there are the racists who won't dare admit it, and those are the bad people.
Dude, again, this is just a straw man. This isn't what people think.
Wow. James,
you get
I
this
can't thank
Lady
you.
Macbeth feeling, right? Out.
Oh, yeah.
You can't wash it off your... Yeah.
Yes. Hang on. Stu, I think, has a question.
Yeah, James, quickly, because this is really amazing to hear this stuff. Is this the same thing that's sort of echoed in the crazy sort of self-punishing celebrity videos that we see where they apologize for everything and take responsibility for all the terrible actions they've apparently been a part of all these years?
Absolutely. That's them, reacting to that emotional manipulation. So they're...
Again, they don't even know who they're arguing with. Those videos got panned universally on the left. People on the left were like, oh, fucking thanks, millionaires, for just saying words and not doing anything. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Everybody on the left, not liberals, the left, was like, yeah, this is stupid. I don't need you to prostrate yourself in front of black people. I need you to help.
They're told that, you're complicit in racism, that they get this emotional vulnerability, this guilt, this shame. Guilt and shame are the main ones that they're playing upon.
They don't know who they're arguing with.
They have to take this action. And what do? I take responsibility for it. And they're crying and so on and so forth, getting very emotional and trying to induce emotional reactions in the people watching it. Taking responsibility, though, is showing commitment and learning to identify as a person who thinks that way. That's exactly an example of this.
He just genuinely doesn't know who the fuck he's talking to. God.